Hi there. Today we are going to talk about more graph attributes. So we are tying together some of the ones we did earlier this chapter, as well as domain and range, and doing them all for these types of problems. So today we are going to start with problem 1 here on the notes. So it has this funky graph here, and then it's saying find f of 4. That's the first task we're going to do. So this 4, if I were to write my function notation, the 4 is in the parentheses, which is where the x would be. So I'm looking on the x-axis for 4. So I look at my x-axis, 4. Then I go up or down until I find where the line hits it. So it hits right here. Then the y value of that is 3. I have to go over here to the y-axis and see where it lines up. Okay, so that's the first one. F of 4 is 3. So just a reminder here, if I were to write out this point, like x comma y, my x is 4. I just found that my y value is 3. And this point should be on your graph. So if you graph 4 comma 3, that point's right here. We're all good. If your point was not on that line, that means you did this problem incorrectly. All right, part B, it says list the x values that make f of x equal 1 true. So this means that y equals 1. So this is that horizontal dotted line that we've drawn. So I'm going to go on the y-axis to positive 1 and just draw a quick dotted line here so you can see where these values are. Okay, forgive my line is not very straight. But then I'm going to see, okay, where does this dotted line hit the graph? It actually hits 4 times. Okay, so now we have to find the x value of these 4 dots. So this far left dot, if I were to just draw a line down, that would be -7. And then these other ones are a little weird because they're in between numbers. But this next green dot looks like it's in between -1 and 0. So I'll say -0.5. That next green dot here, we'll say that's close enough to 2. If you were at 1.9, I would also take that. And then the far green dot here, that's also in between 4 and 5. So let's say like 4.8. All right, there's a little flexibility with these if it's in between numbers. Okay, so we've done that, a few lessons ago. Now, part C says write the domain and interval notation. So domain is what we did yesterday. So we have our note card in class you may have had, or if you're using some other sort of tool, I'm going to use this right here as my note card. So I'm sliding this for domain from left to right. So I slide. Oh, that's the first number I hit. That value here is -8. And I keep sliding all the way until I hit the right value way over here. That's at 7. Okay, so let's make sure we have our parentheses and brackets correct. So on the left side, that should be a parenthesis because it's an open circle. On the right, that should be a bracket because it's a closed circle. All right. Oh, this keeps changing colors. Fancy. Okay. Now I'm going to do my range. So I'm going to slide my imaginary note card up until I hit the bottom point. That's right here. That value, that y value is -4. And I'll keep sliding up my imaginary note card until I hit the top of the graph. That's right here. That value is 6. Both have parentheses because there's a closed circle on the bottom, and then this top line is just a solid line. So we're good. All right, and then the last part is the graph of function. So remember our vertical line test? If I were to slide my pencil across the page here, if it hits 2 points at one time, it is not a function. It looks like it passes the vertical line test. So that means it is a function. Yes, it is a function because it passed the vertical line test. Okay, we're gonna do number 2, one more down here. All right, so it says find f of 2.5. So again, this 2.5, that's the x value in my function notation. So I'm looking at my graph here. 2.5 is right in between. So I'm going to go up until I hit the line, and that hits right here. All right, and then the y value of this blue dot is 1. Okay, part B, it says list the x values that make f of x is equal to -2 true. So let's draw that dotted line so you can see where I'm pointing at here. All right, and then the dotted line hits the graph, looks like 3 times. Okay, so we're going to look and see where these x values or these dots have the x value. So this red dot here, if we go the x-axis, is in between -6 and -7. So let's say that's -6.5. This red dot here is -5. And this red dot here is 1. Okay, then we have our domain and range. So if you're sliding your imaginary note card across, the first point you hit left to right, this is the leftmost point. The value on the x-axis is -9. It is a closed circle, so let's put our bracket there. Okay, then I'll keep sliding my imaginary note card across until I hit the leftmost point. That's up here. Look down on your x-axis, and that is at a +7. It's an open circle, so let's make sure we have our parentheses. All right, then the range, we're going from bottom to top. So I go down, up, 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 up. This is the bottom point. This bottom point lines up with the y value of -4. Keep going up until I reach the top value. Again, that's this point. And that goes with the y value of 10. I'm going to have a bracket by -4 because it's just a solid line. Parentheses by 10 because that is an open circle. Then the last part here, it says, is it a function? You're going to slide your pencil across your vertical line test. See if it passes. Doesn't hit any 2 points at one time. Remember, if I had like 2 points right above each other, that would fail because a vertical line would hit 2 points at once. So I don't see any, vertical lines in this graph. All of them are angled. So that's a good indicator that it is a function. All right, and that is it today for our graph attributes notes.